How does Japanese black tea taste? No idea? Here they are. This is nannuoshan. I'm Gabriele. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will deep dive into the world of Japanese black tea. We will embrace the whole sensory spectrum of what today Japanese black tea can offer, but one step at a time. Everything started a few months ago in summer when I was traveling in Japan. I was in the very south of Japan in the Kumamoto prefecture searching for Kamairicha, which is a rare green tea. It happens that the farmer also produces black tea, and to my surprise, of quite good quality. So at the point in time when I was there, I didn't know exactly what to do, but then later on I selected two of those black teas, and here they are with me. Actually, black tea was one of the two here, was the very first tea that I was served when I met the farmer, and I should have already understood at that time that this is something he was proud of, right? This is the first thing you give to a guest. But I ignored it first because I was totally focused about Kamairicha, and only later in the tasting during the day it came back and I could appreciate three different black tea from the farmer. You probably have seen all that in a past video. I'll put the link on the screen. But now let's focus on what we have here. We have two different cultivars. We have on one side Benifuuki. Benifuuki is a recent cultivar. It was crossed. It's a cross between two different plants, Benifuuki, which is an Assamica variety, and Makura CD86, a Darjeeling plant. The cross was done long ago in 1965, but actually took quite a while to be registered. It was officially registered in Kagoshima, also in the very south of Japan, only in 1993. It has a lot of peculiarity, and you can hear a lot nowadays speaking about Benifuuki. If you search actually about Japanese black tea, probably that's the tea you find today. Although, as we said, it was registered just very recently. And why? First of all, it has a high methylated catechins content. These type of catechins are more rare in other tea and are known for having a milder bitterness actually. And also the tea is famous for anti-allergy effects. Whether it's true or not, I leave it for you, but there is a lot of research done about anti-allergenic properties of the tea. Now, on the other side here, we have Zairai, which is not even a cultivar. In fact, Zairai means native or indigenous in Japanese. It's kind of, for those that are more familiar with Chinese tea, it's kind of the same as Tsai Cha or Qizhong in China. So it's a original plant that was grown from seed. It's not a cultivar, it was not crossed, it's not a clonal, and there is a lot of diversity in the plant because every seed is different from each other. So basically what you have in Zairai is the original native plant in Japan. Of course, plants that were brought there centuries before from China, but then develop over the centuries their own taste. That's what we call Zairai. Now, while I start warming up the water, we will brew them at 90 degrees to deepen into the taste of these two teas. And if you have them at home, were not released long ago at the time this video came out, so probably a little bit difficult, but if you see the video a little bit later and you have them alone at home, you would like to drink along with me, or maybe you have a Benifuuki from another supplier. It's a little bit different if you have a Zairai from someone else, just because Zairai, as we said, is so diverse. Now, the two tea that we have here are both 2025, so are both from this year. They are, as we said, from the same organic farm in a beautiful valley into the mountains of Kumamoto Prefecture, and were actually even processed by the same farmer in the same factory. Let's call it factory. It's actually just a building, a small building next to his house. I have 5 grams each. Here's the Benifuuki. Another, maybe we're speaking about commonalities, but the difference between the two is that the Zairai, this one here, is a summer harvest. Is a summer harvest because the farmer uses the spring harvest of Zairai for Kamairicha, while Benifuuki is more traditionally processed in Japan as a black tea, although nowadays there is also some oolong done with Benifuuki, and more recently even green tea. But traditionally it was a cultivar that was developed for black tea, and so he uses the spring harvest for the black tea. They also have different price tags. Not massive the difference, but the Zairai is certainly more affordable. And sorry, concentrating here on the pouring. Let's look at the color. Very different. The Zairai is darker. You can see it on my whitish sweater, and the Benifuuki is lighter in color. This is very dark. Yeah. All right. Very different. I will tell you in a moment. All right, so when you smell the wet leaves, with both you think of black tea. So, which is good because sometimes in Japan there is the tendency of oxidizing the black tea short, just too little, it's just too green, in my opinion. Here you have instantly that almost malty smell, if that's a thing, but you know what I mean, the typical black tea bite in your nose. Now, interestingly, I wasn't expecting from the liquor to have so much aroma. This reminds me oranges, orange peel. Very much so. And this actually is also more aromatic than I was expecting. I mean, I tasted these two teas when I was there, but I said it was at the end of the day, I was a little bit confused, and I don't remember having smell the tea soup. It's more earthy in a way. Let's do a first brew and see what the tea have to tell us. I do a parallel comparison, not to find out which of the two is the best. I say they are very different tea. They are complementary in a way. So it's not about comparing them to find out what is best. It's about comparing them to find out what makes each of them peculiar and unique in its own way. I have 5 grams of leaves, so I will not brew it for too long, especially the Zairai, which has a bit more broken leaves. Actually, the Benifuuki, I'm surprised, for Japan that is usually harvesting everything by machine, almost everything. This seems to be harvested by hand. I didn't ask, but it has such large leaves that it makes me very much thinking that. I wait a tiny bit longer because of the larger leaves, it releases the fragrance a bit slower. But certainly that lighter color is confirmed. Now I'm curious. I haven't tasted these two teas ever since I was there. And I have in mind what I thought at that time, but as said, it wasn't a very consistent tasting. And I think actually, I don't even remember if at the end I had again the Benifuuki. Maybe only the same very tea in the same teapot that I had at the very beginning, just hours later. So it was not so very consistent. I really actually like these because it was grapes. Yes, definitely dark grapes. And I wasn't expecting so much aroma in the Zairai. I was prepared. You know, Zairai is not famous for being an aromatic tea. And so at the nose, I'm really surprised. Oh, and this is so bright. I'll start with the Zairai. It's thick. It feels like you want to bite into it. It's dense. It feels like the consistency of honey without the sweetness of honey. That's much brighter and aromatic. Sweeter. Actually, although at the nose it really reminds me the peel of oranges or citrus fruit, in the cup it turns more towards riper dark fruits. Maybe plums. I just had a plums compote just a few days ago. It reminds me pretty much that. Just cooking plums together with brown sugar. That's pretty much that, yeah. Very pleased by the two teas. I'm pretty sure I'm brewing them better than the farmer did when I was there. But that's totally fine. We want the farmer to be good at processing the teas, not necessarily preparing the teas, brewing them. The grapes that I was smelling before in the wet leaves are here only if I think about it, just if I know it, right? I wouldn't think honestly at grapes if I would just brew this blind. It became more earthy in a way and thick, as I said. It's this tea is all about the body and mouthfeel. It's tannic, a little bit astringent, but really not much. Yeah, I would say brisk. Brisk is the right term. It has a little bit of astringency, but in a very pleasant and bright way. I don't know if it is just the season, but it's also a little bit spicy. Yeah. Oh yes, it has that mental like aftertaste, especially when you breathe in after you swallow the tea. That I remember actually from when I was at the farmer. It's is there, but it's not so evident, so pungent, so present as it is in Ruby 18, the Taiwanese cultivar also used for black tea and kind of famous for this menthol or maybe camphor even taste. Here is there is very, but it's very refreshing. Actually, don't tell everyone, but I'm not super fan of Ruby 18. It's to me it's like too much in a way. And here you have just a tiny bit of menthol. I prefer it. And now I have almost boiling water is 96 degrees centigrade. So maybe I should keep this brew a bit shorter. Also because the leaves already open up. So they're not very big Gaiwans. How do you like these Gaiwans? I have just two of them, these two. So I thought for a parallel comparison of two teas is perfect. Is from a Jintejan artist with whom we have been cooperating for quite a while. We will most probably visit him next year during the tea tour. If you want to join the nannuoshan tea tour, there is a page on our website that describe a little bit the next trip and how to participate. Will not be about black tea, will mainly be about oolong tea in China and also TEAWARE, focused on Jindejiang. But since we will visit also in Shanghai some of my favorite tea shop, there will be also opportunity to buy other types of TEAWARE also there. So if you are interested, check it out and let's travel along together in China. This is getting a bit darker, but never any close to the Zairai. I'm really pleased to how I brew the tea, really. I didn't experiment before, so usually it takes a while for me to fine tune and find the perfect amount of leaves. It's more or less consistent. Also, the temperature is about the steeping time here. Or maybe the teas are just forgiving and are just resilient with respect to brewing time. You know what? That grape fruity taste is completely gone. It's not there. It's rather vegetal. It reminds me of Italian minestrone or ratatouille, eggplant, bell peppers stewed for a long time in a pot. It's that kind of thick and vegetal. This remains fairly consistent. By the way, Benifuuki is a cultivar also known for being able to maintain taste over several brews. So I'm not surprised. I didn't mention it before. I didn't think about it before. But now that I noticed this, it's, yeah, I remember having read that. I have to try, really. I mean, this tea, as said, you taste it, then you inhale, you breathe in, and you feel this freshness in your mouth, like I would have a peppermint candy. And I still have it. I have to remove that because let me try with some water. I want to do the same thing with the Zairai because, of course, if you have wet mouth and you inhale, of course, that wind, that air, and the palate coated with hot tea, it gives you this freshness, right? Because it removes, the hair removes heat from your palate. So it's normal that you have that. And I want to check if this is something I notice here because just because I know it tastes like that, but I don't think so. Oh no. No. Please try that. Try that. You take both and you start with the Zairai. You just take a sip. And then you do this. There is no freshness in your mouth. It's just like you would have drunk hot water in terms of freshness, right? Of course, there is the aromatic compound, but in terms of freshness. Now, if you do the same with the Benifuuki, it's like having a mint in your mouth, really. So very, very interesting. And what surprised me most of this menthol-like taste is that it is not fake. It's like, for me, Ruby 18 has almost is so extreme into that it feels to me almost like it is a flavored tea. I know it's not, but that's why I cannot bear it. All right, I hope you have enjoyed this range of taste. Summarizing, on one side we have Zairai. I didn't mention it before. This tea, these leaves comes from trees that are 75 to 100 years old. So these plants were there in this Kumamoto in Ashikita, to mention the township, prefecture, even before this one was crossed. Benifuuki was not even existing at that time. And this tea is all about body and mouth feel, a savory endeavor. This one here, the Benifuuki, is all about aromatics with that menthol-like taste on top of it. I hope you have enjoyed. I definitely did. I enjoyed this a lot. It's very rare for me that in front of the camera I test two teas for the first time and I'm able to experience so much out of them. So I'm really, really happy today. I could call a day and just lay down on the couch and just sip tea. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like if you enjoyed watching. Bye guys.